The thing about Alysa Liu winning gold in Milan is that it wasn't the jumps that broke the internet. It wasn't the scores. It was what happened next. Across America, in basements and garages and dusty storage closets, people started digging. Hockey skates, basketball shoes, running cleats, tennis rackets, equipment they hadn't touched in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And they started posting videos with the same caption, "I'm going back." A 34-year-old accountant diving into a pool for the first time since high school. A dad teaching his daughter baseball who realized he hadn't picked up a glove since college. A former gymnast stepping onto a mat while holding her toddler. All of them saying the same thing. If Alysa Liu can come back, so can I. Psychologists have a name for this now. They're calling it the Alysa Liu Effect. And to understand why one Olympic gold medal sparked something this powerful, we have to go back to why Alysa left in the first place. Because this story isn't really about winning, it's about walking away. 13 years old, that's when America first met Alysa Liu. While most kids were stressing about homework and middle school drama, she was landing triple axels on national television. The youngest U.S. women's national champion in figure skating history. Her ponytail swinging, that giant smile, the way she made impossible jumps look effortless. America fell hard for her. But here's what we didn't see. The 5 a.m. practices, the missed birthdays, the body breaking down before it was even finished growing, the pressure of knowing millions of people were watching every single landing. By 16, Alysa had already achieved what most athletes spend their whole lives chasing: world medalist, Olympian, champion. And then she did something nobody expected. She quit, just walked away. No scandal, no injury, no dramatic breakdown. She said she just wasn't happy anymore. Imagine that, at 16 years old, walking away from everything you've worked for because you realized success meant nothing if you couldn't enjoy it. The sports world didn't know what to do with that. For 2 years, Alysa disappeared into normal life. College classes, traveling, sleeping in, figuring out who she was without skates on her feet. And somewhere in that silence, something unexpected happened. The passion came back. Not the pressure, not the expectations, not the voice in her head screaming about perfection, just the love, the feeling of ice under her blades, the sound of edges cutting through, the freedom of movement without the weight of a nation watching. So she did something even crazier than quitting. She came back, and everyone had an opinion. She's too old now. The sport passed her by. Comebacks never work. She'll never make the Olympic team again. Critics lined up to explain why this was a mistake, but Alysa wasn't listening anymore. Milan, Olympic final. Years after walking away, Alysa Liu stepped onto the biggest ice in the world. And here's what everyone noticed immediately. She looked different. Not tense, not desperate, not carrying the weight of expectations, just peaceful. The music started, and for 4 minutes, the entire world watched something rare. Not perfection, joy. Every jump landed, every spin nailed. But that's not what people remember. They remember the way she smiled mid-program, the way her arms moved like they were telling a story, the way she skated like someone who had already won the only battle that mattered. When the scores flashed gold, the arena lost its mind. But that wasn't the moment. The moment happened hours later when the videos started flooding social media. Former athletes returning to sports they'd abandoned, adults crying in locker rooms, kids watching their parents pick up a sport for the first time in decades. One caption kept appearing over and over: "If Alysa Liu can come back, so can I." Why does this happen? Why does one person's comeback trigger thousands of others? Sports psychologists point to something called unfinished identity. Most of us don't quit sports because we stop loving them. We quit because life happens, careers, kids, bills, responsibilities. The slow realization that adult life doesn't leave room for the things that used to define us. But that identity never dies. It just waits. And when someone like Alysa Liu shows the world that returning is possible, something clicks. You don't have to be an Olympian. You don't have to win anything. You just have to show up. Community leagues across America are reporting something strange. Adult signups are surging. Ice rinks are seeing former skaters return after decades away. Basketball courts that sat empty for years suddenly have weekend games again. A coach in Minnesota said it best. People aren't coming back for medals. They're coming back because they remember how it felt. Here's the question nobody can answer yet. Is this just an Olympic moment, a temporary emotional spike that fades when the games end? Or is this something bigger? Because this generation is redefining what sports mean. It's not just about competition anymore. It's about mental health, community, connection, healing. Alysa Liu didn't win gold because she trained harder than everyone else. She won because she found her way back to the reason she started skating in the first place, the love of it. And that message hits different, especially for people who spent years telling themselves they're too old, too busy, too far gone to return. The Alysa Liu effect isn't really about skating. It's about permission. Permission to go back. Permission to suck at something you used to be good at. Permission to find joy without pressure. So here's the question we're leaving you with. What sport did you used to love? Not the one you were good at. Not the one you won trophies for. The one that made you feel alive. Is it sitting in a garage somewhere, buried in a closet, waiting for you to remember? Because if Alysa Liu taught us anything, it's that passion doesn't expire. It just waits. And sometimes, all it takes is watching someone else find their way back to realize you can find yours too. Drop it in the comments. What sport are you going back to? And if this story hit something in you, share it with that friend who used to play but stopped. The one who needs permission. Because the biggest wins don't always happen on podiums. Sometimes they happen in driveways, in local gyms, in quiet moments when someone decides today is the day. Subscribe to Celebrity Trend Spot for more stories that go deeper. And remember, it's never too late to go back.